Good evening. I hereby call to order the August 22nd, 2018 meeting of the Gaithersburg Historic District Commission. May I have a roll call, please, starting on my far left?
Frank Johnson.
Gregory Mann.
Robert Love.
Mark Feinstein.
Dean Ventola.
John Roddy.
Chris Kurtz.
Chris Berger.
Okay, we have a quorum. Commissioner Robert Love is a full commissioner tonight. Next then is for last month's meeting minutes. Does any commissioner have any corrections or additions that they would like to make? Nope. Okay, then I'm open for a motion to adopt.
So move.
A second.
A second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
And one abstain. Okay, so that looks like it's 4 to 0 to 1 abstention. Okay, next then is our preliminary statement, and it is as follows. This commission is empowered to meet and act under Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and members of the commission are on file with the City of Gaithersburg, are available on request to any applicant, and are hereby made part of the legal record of each and every application heard today. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing precedent for any other application. Next then is for any of the items we're talking about tonight, or going to be reviewing tonight. Does anybody have any conflict of interest that they'd like to declare or discuss? No? Okay. Next then, I guess we're starting out with our first application, which is demolition permit. Demo or DEMO 17239-2018, demolition of a building more than 50 years old. And so, Chris, do we have any comments from staff?
Yes, we do. The building at 700 Conservation Lane on the Isaac Walton League property is a vacant one-story ranch-style building that was constructed circa 1960. It is located on the northwest corner of Conservation Lane and Muddy Branch Road, just south of NIST. The property is zoned MXD, mixed-use development. It is not a historically designated property, either individually or as part of a district. The demolition permit comes before the HDC in accordance with Section 24-231 of the City Code, which requires buildings slated for demolition that are more than 50 years old to be reviewed by the HDC for architectural and historical importance in accordance with Section 24-226. According to the applicant, the Isaac Walton League, which is a conservation nonprofit, previously rented out the residence but no longer wishes to be a landlord. The applicant also noted that the home is in need of repairs. The applicant has expressed a willingness to salvage materials such as the windows, appliances, bathroom fixtures, light fixtures, and the heating system. And the property, now belonging to the Isaac Walton League, was once part of the Otis Beale Kent Farm. The property was annexed into Gaithersburg in 1967, and building permits suggest the building may have been moved to the property shortly afterward. Conservationist Malcolm E. King owned the property before it was deeded to the Isaac Walton League in 1980. The nonprofit has utilized the building as rental housing. The HDC previously approved the demolition of a similar residential building on the property in 2015 with Demo 7707-2015. The HDC has two options. It can direct the city manager to issue the demolition permit, or if the building has the reasonable probability of being designated in accordance with Section 24-226, which is shown on the screen right now, it can instruct the city manager to withhold issuance of the demo permit for up to 6 months. The building was not listed in the Gaithersburg element of the master plan, nor is there a Maryland Inventory of Historic Properties form for the building. Staff contends that the subject building lacks architectural significance and has undergone a number of exterior changes. It is of a simple design and construction, and is not unique to the city, state, or nation. Limited research revealed the subject building was not the site of a significant single historic event. While important local citizen Malcolm King did own the property, there are no indications he ever lived at 700 Conservation Lane. And joining us tonight, we have two representatives, Mr. Ken Bush of Area Construction Group If you can please come to the podium, and we also have a representative from the Isaac Walton League, if you would join him as well, and state your names for the record.
Hi, I'm Ken Bush with Area Construction Group.
I'm Scott Kvarvix. I'm the Executive Director of the Isaac Walton League.
Welcome to you. Please feel free to give us all the comments or additional facts that you'd like to present above and beyond what Chris has said.
I think Chris pretty much covered it all. It's just a small little rancher, which they wish to demo and just put the land back to its natural state.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I would just add that, as the report indicated, these houses are kind of legacy properties on the property that was donated to the Isaac Walton League over a period of time, in which we built our national headquarters in 1994. And the league periodically rented these houses, but over time they deteriorated significantly. As Chris mentioned, there was another property that became vacant in 2015, and we moved. And this property became vacant, I believe, in August of 2016, and it's been vacant since. Significant investment we needed to make this rentable again, and it's just really not in alignment with the mission of the organization. So our goal is to kind of remove these legacy properties, return the property to the natural state, and focus more on our conservation mission than what ends up being kind of an ancillary, part of the business. So we appreciate the Commission's consideration, the work that Chris has done, and we're happy to answer any questions or provide additional information as necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If we do have questions, we'll ask you to step back up.
Okay.
But right now, then, I guess I'd like to ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak on behalf or against this application. And I see none. Okay, so now let's hear from the commissioners for their questions and thoughts. And I guess, Robert, we can start with you.
This is definitely one of those situations where if you just read the paper, you think maybe there's something of historical significance, and then you see the pictures and you realize that it's kind of more of a modern looking house on it. I don't really see any historical significance to it, so I have no issues with the demo.
Okay, very good. Mark?
It's a cute house, but I agree, there's no historical significance that I can tell, so I have no issues.
Okay, I'll go next. And I believe in reviewing the application that and the photos, there really is no architectural, cultural, or historic features to be concerned with. John?
Gentlemen, I have one question, and I think you can answer it from where you're sitting. Has anyone expressed any interest in acquiring title to this house and moving it?
Can you please come up to the podium so that they can have it recorded?
Simple answer, no, sir.
That's it.
Okay. All righty. Chris, you're going next.
Commissioner Kurtz.
Commissioner Kurtz, would you like to go next?
I support demolition.
Okay, all righty. So now we're at the phase where we can have an open forum for all the commissioners, but it sounds like there's nothing to discuss. Okay, so based on that, I am open for a motion for this to approve or deny the application.
I move that we adopt the staff recommended motion that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff report findings and recommendation, make a determination that the building over 50 years old, located at 700 Conservation Lane, does not meet the criteria for historic or architectural significance as specified in section 24-226 of the city code, and does not direct the city manager to withhold issuance of DEMO-17239-2018 with one condition: the applicant shall have all salvageable building materials and appliances removed before demolition.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 5-0. Okay, congratulations. Okay, next then on our list is Historic Area Work Permit, and it's for HIST 8011-2018, the reconstruction, addition, and shed improvements at 102 Chestnut Hill in the R90 medium density zone. This is going to be exciting. Chris, do you have any report from staff?
Yeah, first some background before I turn it over to the applicants. The subject property is a two-story Queen Anne style residence that was constructed in 1902. 102 Chestnut Street is zoned R90, medium density residential, and is contributing to the Chestnut Meme Historic District. The applicants, Philip and Megan Wessel, have submitted HIST 8011-2018, requesting the HDC approve the reconstruction, rear addition, and shed improvements to the subject property. The rear of the residence suffered damage in June when a red oak tree fell on it. Staff supports the projects and find they meet the Chestnut Meme Historic District guidelines in the city code. The proposed plan also meets city code lot dimensional requirements. And now I will turn it over to the applicants. Let me switch over the screen. And you're good to go.
Good evening, Commissioners. Phil and Megan Wessel from 102 Chestnut Street. Thank you for the opportunity to present
Welcome.
this evening. I'm going to run through a quick presentation that is a slightly expanded version of what was in your packet, and introduce the property and the scope of work that we're proposing. 102 Chestnut Street is either, depending on who you ask and what definition you look at, either a late Victorian or Queen Anne style property constructed around 1902, right adjacent to the Meme House on Chestnut Avenue. It was either the second or the third property built out as part of Meme's addition. The house has really two primary facades. The primary one, the more ornate one facing Chestnut Street, which you can see here. The secondary facade facing Meme Avenue. And then the existing conditions, the existing rear of the house over time had been, for lack of a better word, bastardized by some ill-conceived and ill-shapen additions and materials. So the pre-damage condition was basically what you see here on the screen. From a material standpoint, the rear area, which is what sustained damage, was a hodgepodge of materials. The house is currently covered in aluminum siding that was installed, I'm ballparking sometime in the 60s or 70s. It was there when the property was designated and the district was created in 1997. A portion of the rear addition had vinyl siding and a mix of fiberglass doors, vinyl windows, aluminum casement windows, and wood windows with metal mechanisms circa, again, the 60s, 70s, that were in various states of repair, none of which were very appropriate to the time period of the property. As Chris mentioned, in June of this year, the red oak tree on our neighbor's property at 104 Chestnut Street on a bright, sunny, windless, cloudless day gave up the ghost and took a nosedive onto the back of our house. As you can see in this picture, it's pretty obvious that the whole center of the tree is dry rotted out. And so, in addition to inflicting a fair amount of damage on the rear of the house, it totaled the vehicle and really sent us on the odyssey that we're on for the next year to get back in the property. This is on day 3 after the tree fell. It took 2 days to remove the tree, during which time we had 2 days of almost solid rain. So in addition to the water damage that the property sustained from the broken pipes, the upstairs area that was demolished was the main bathroom in the house. In addition to that, there was significant water damage in the whole rear of the house that required basically the entire thing to be completely gutted. So where we start this process from a rebuilding standpoint, we've had the inside of the house gutted. We've had a preliminary structural engineer's report done. Now that the house is the back area of the house, all the structure's exposed. We've got a follow-up inspection by a structural engineer scheduled for next week. But basically, the back, all of the additions that were put on the house require reconstruction, as well as a significant portion of the Meme Avenue gable that needs to be torn off back to the main front gable roof and reconstructed. So that brings us to our plans for getting us back in the house and hopefully improving a number of things. Our goals for this project and for the work we're proposing, really obviously repair the damage, get us back in the house. At the same time, we're looking to rectify a number of functional and space issues with the house that existed. It's the challenge of fitting a modern family life into a 100-plus-year-old house. We're looking to improve a number of things on the ground floor from a spatial arrangement. Obviously, the house has no basement. We're tight on storage space. We had a laundry room that was also a bathroom that was also, a storage closet. So we're looking to fix that as well. As part of this, we'd like to clean up and try to rectify the sort of haphazard massing on the back of the building, make it fit in a little bit more with the area. Since we now have no shade trees left within probably 150 feet of the house, we'd like to add a covered patio on the back so that we can have some shaded outdoor living space. And last but not least, deal with some code issues and code upgrades as part of this work. What we're proposing, as you saw in the packet, is on the screen in front of you. This is the Meme Avenue elevation. The dashed red line shows the outline of the existing massing pre-damage. We're proposing a 4-foot expansion of the footprint of the enclosed space of the home and approximately 15-foot deep covered porch and patio, which is the patio is about 3 feet deeper than the patio that is there now. We're expanding the second story to create additional living space up above, the same amount. And on the rear elevation, the way we're proposing to accomplish this is taking the two existing gables in their existing, dimension, configuration, and simply pulling them back to the rear of the house, maintaining the original roofline appearance as much as possible. One thing that's interesting to note that was driving me nuts as I was drawing this and trying to get things to line up nice and centered is that the two gables are different sizes. So while the porch roof is centered on the back of the house, you'll notice the peak doesn't quite line up, and that's just one of the quirks of 1902 architecture. We're proposing to mimic for all of our millwork, all of our trim, match the existing exactly. Windows are all going to be wood windows, matching the existing 2/2 conditions. Wood window trim will match the existing. Porch framing, porch details will be in the same vein as what is on the other two porches of the house, so it should blend fairly seamlessly. The elevation facing 104 Chestnut Street is the most plain elevation of the house as it is now. It's unornamented, it's flat, and so we're simply just extending that out as it is now. There is the sort of a 3D view to get a sense of the massing, and another one from the rear. So as far as materials and details for what we're proposing, the existing property has a handful of defining materials. Obviously the wood 2/2 windows and the accompanying trim work, the scroll work, the decorative brackets on both the gable ends and the porch posts, the crown molding on all of the fascia and soffits, and on the front bay window there's some decorative brackets. The siding on the house is pretty much, the original siding is clapboard lap siding, and it's now covered with aluminum siding. So our approach to this from a historic perspective is, again, like I mentioned, to match as much as we can, which is fairly easy on the trim side, replicating the brackets and the porch posts. The gable end brackets that are on the rear, at least one of them can probably be reused. The other one was damaged. I have half of it sitting in my shed. I don't think the other half is gone, so there's going to have to be some recreation that happens. And to use similar proportion for the new siding. The siding replacement, or the siding that is being proposed as part of this project, is 100% on the addition. We're not proposing to re-side any of the existing. And so in my reading of the guidelines and trying to understand the best approach here, the guidelines seem to split into two different sections. One focused on siding for the purposes of replacement and repair, and it seems to be concerned with people who are looking to remove their old siding and replace it. The addition section is a little bit much more brief and simply establishes criteria for being visually compatible with the character of the existing house. In both cases, the focus is on visual appearance from the public right-of-way and visual appearance of the material. So here's an interesting photo that I got a couple years ago when we were replacing the wood window trim and repairing some rot, and you can see the buildup of what's there now and what was there before. So the existing aluminum siding that covers basically all of the house that remains is about an 8-inch exposure lap profile, obviously installed prior to historic designation. It was actually noted in the historic inventory form that this house was covered with aluminum siding. The original siding remains behind the aluminum siding on most of the house, as far as we know. And it looks like the lap profile, both as far as how far it protrudes and the size of the exposure, is different, obviously, than the aluminum. It looks like it's about a 4 to 5 inch exposure with about a 3/8 inch projection. The existing aluminum siding is about a 3/4 to a 1 inch projection. So our approach is obviously to put a siding material up that is, in keeping with the appearance of the aluminum, in keeping with the historically appropriate appearance, and to choose a material that is solid and closely matches the appearance of wood when it's finished. Also with our trim details and separating the new work from the existing, to clearly make a clear distinction without being too in your face between new and existing. Our proposed siding material is fiber cement siding. It's available in many different exposures. The sample board that's in front of you is the 7-inch exposure. We can go up, we can go down, and I'm open to feedback on the commission from that if there's a feeling that one is more appropriate than the other. I did some research into this material's acceptance and use in other historic areas around the country, and there's a fairly good precedent, especially on addition work. Its fiber cement siding has been approved by Chicago Landmarks. There's a pending rule change for the New York City Landmarks Commission that would allow this sort of stuff by right without special exception. It's been approved in Charleston and New Orleans as an acceptable substitute due to its improved maintenance, insect and rot resistance. And lastly, it's actually listed as an acceptable material for secondary elevations in the National Park Service's Guide to Restoration. So as I mentioned, most of the precedent for use of a fiber cement siding on a historic property, additions, secondary facades, places where there are maintenance concerns, and that it be similar to the historic siding appearance. So that's our proposal there. Since I was going to be joining you this evening anyway, I figured I'd tack on one of my other long-standing projects, some very minor modifications to our lovely circa 1982 barn-style shed that has a number of issues, including rotting siding, and I'm trying to repurpose it to be a more weather-tight and functional woodworking shop. So I'm proposing to add a double door on one elevation, painted to match the same color scheme of the house, as well as replace the crooked and gap-filled front shed door with a insulated fiberglass door as well as replace the existing windows. So that's on the docket as well. And with that, I welcome your questions, comments, and other feedback.
Great presentation. Thank you very much. That was probably one of the most thorough we've ever received. Before we start asking questions of you from the commission, I'd like to ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak on behalf or against this application. And I see none. Okay. Alrighty. Let's then start with the commission to have our questions and our thoughts. And can we start with you, Commissioner Kurtz?
Yes, I think it's exquisite. I'm sorry you had the tree on a sunny, nice day decide to attack, but it may be an ill wind that blows no good. So I think it's spectacular. I do have one comment. So if you can go back, Phil, to the picture of the back where you show the that's it right there. Here's my only question. It's a little hard to tell, but it looks like your two gables, even though they aren't exact, they're pretty much 12-12. And it looks to me, and again, it may just be the elevation, that it's a flatter pitch on your covered patio. And I would, if it is, I would recommend that you make it a little steeper to match. Every time I see one of those flat roofs, I kind of cringe because it looks like one of those prefab jobs.
Yeah, the pitch on the rear roof is a 412 pitch roof, and that is basically the driving factor in the pitch of that roof. I worked through about 3 different roof designs, including trying to match a shed roof, and you're constrained by the head height at the beam at the far edge, makes a shed roof basically impractical. and also by the windows on the second story. So this is basically maxed out as
Oh, I
as
got
much
it.
as you
I
can
got it.
get it
Unless you
without
narrowed it, I got you. Yeah,
without
it's gonna
chopping
be
the
at
windows
bottom
off.
of the- Okay.
I tried to do a shed roof, and if you hold a 7-foot clear height out at the edge of the patio,
Yeah.
even with a minimal 312 pitch, the where it meets the house ends up being about halfway through the windows.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's as I agree with you. It's as steep as we can get it without
I
either
got
changing
you.
window
I
sizes or
understand
losing
without
it.
narrowing, right. Then I will, keeping my commissioner hat on, it looks great. Taking my commissioner hat off, you're welcome to come over to my house in the Grove. I have been storing windows and all kinds of artifacts, so I probably have some old 2/2s and 1/1s, and
Okay.
they're on the house every time somebody was doing something and we could salvage. To my wife's dismay, I hold on to it. So if I can get anything out of there, happy wife, happy life. So thanks.
I
And
appreciate that.
I agree with Chair Ventola, that unbelievable presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, John?
I would concur with my predecessors in congratulating you on a very thorough presentation, and God bless you.
That's it, okay. I guess I'll go next. I usually go last if I got a lot to say. I have just a little bit to say, so I'll just sneak it in here. First question I have is, I'm looking at the photos of your back elevation. Chris, are you able to put up a rear? Yeah, perfect. Any one of those. Any one of those that shows the gable. Oh, so you're controlling that? Great, okay.
Yep.
It appears to me that your pitch is on back gables, probably, I'm gonna guess maybe 10-12 or 11-12. I don't think it's, I can't tell from the photos. I did look at many different photos. It doesn't really seem like a pure 12-12, but it seems very steep. And so I'm in agreement with Commissioner Kurtz that the pitch on the on your new addition, I guess the covered patio,
Yep.
That out of all the things you're doing, I don't have any concerns on anything really except for that covered patio. And all of my concerns are really on that. But I can tell you this, I do want you to know that none of those issues that I'm about to tell you will stop me from approving your plan, because what you're doing first and foremost is a major improvement with what you had. So we're getting as a benefit a whole lot more than what was there. But your rear elevation, even though it's rear, is very open to the public, as you already know. So people will see all of it. So the architecture, to me, should, if we can, be very similar to the style of your current house. So yeah, perfect. There we go. All right. So now here's the thing. I know it's 412 on there, and I clearly understand you have a height issue with your windows. But I'll ask this question before I make my thoughts. Is, did you mention that when you did a shed, because that of course is one thing that I'm proposing or for you to consider, would be a 712 makes it higher than windows, or did you? What was the minimum height that you got
So
with it being under the windows?
I set, I played around with a bunch of different variables.
Right.
So if I set the controlling dimension as the head height, the clear head height under the beam.
When you
out
say
at the-
under the beam, help me out. What do you mean?
Let's go to this elevation.
Sure,
So if I
okay.
set, you guys can see my mouse on here?
Yep, we do.
If I set the clear head height, there's a beam that runs here that sits on the top of the column.
Which I'm perfectly fine with, because it aligns with your other
So
addition.
So
your
if,
other-
if you hold that sort of in alignment with everything else at a reasonable height.
Sure.
And pitch back at even a 312 pitch.
So it's less, so if it doesn't mean 312, you can't do it.
You can't do it. I
Okay.
mean, so, and it ended up, a 312 ended up about 6 inches into
Okay.
the windows, and it just, and frankly, the other two porches are, 5-6 feet deep. The proportions for a 312 shed roof back there, because it's so deep, looked weird, looked really bizarre.
Okay.
From the Meme Avenue elevation.
So I came with two thoughts to suggest to you on the roof. One was the shed, and if you can't go less than 312, so that's off the table, so I'm with you there. But here's really my other suggestion is keeping the profile that you have as a 412, but just drop it back as a hip. It will obviously
left.
fit. And what it mostly do is it will reduce its massing greatly and take a more casual approach like you have on your other porch additions. Because I saw on the front elevation, I think you have a
Yep.
hip. So I think that would be a great thing if you so desire. And what I mean by that is I'm going to suggest it to you, but I'm also going to suggest to whoever is going to have the motion to allow you, this is going to be my suggestion, to keep as is or to change it as a hip, but you'll have permission for both.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds great.
Next and last is keeping, if you can go back to the other shot that you just had up, I guess it was your
Sure.
side elevation. The side porch, I'm going to use as an example for my conversation with you, is the only other issue that I have that I'd like to throw your way, is your side porch has 4 columns in what looks to be maybe a 10-foot wide area. Okay, then go to the next shot. Your side porch, your rear porch, which looks double, maybe 15 or 25, say closer to 20 feet, only has 3 columns. So my suggestion to you is to add more columns. At the very least, I suggest strongly you add 1 more column so then you have nothing blocking your door. And then, if you wanted to go with 1 more column or 2 more columns, it would tend to make it look more traditional, more what the old style would have been. So that's it. Those are my
Yeah,
comments.
I don't disagree, and in fact, that's why I put the note on these drawings that I did, is that about the potential to add more porch
Perfect.
columns, is because the structural design of that and sizing of those beams has not, I've done it on the back of a napkin, but my suspicion is that we will have to add at least 1 more column on each of the 3 sides.
Perfect. So what I'd like to do is suggest if anyone, to whomever is making a motion, to say it can stand as is with the 3, or add 1 to make 4, or add another to make 5. Let you, therefore, be the deciding factor, but you'll have permission for all of them. That's my suggestion to everybody. As far as the pitch is concerned, I do want to clarify that it almost appears that you're showing a lower pitch on your 2 cross gables. By the way, your drawings are gorgeous. They're wonderful. But are you touching the pitches of the existing double gables? They're going to still
No,
remain the same pitch?
they're
Okay.
going to match what's there and just.
That's okay. That's what I
Pulled
thought.
out.
Okay. For your siding issue, the 7 inches versus, and I couldn't read it, it was too tiny. Was it the next size up 8 1/4?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
go up for the exposed reveal, or exposed reveal on the siding. You can do a 8 1/4 inch siding piece, which gives you a
Uh-huh.
7-inch reveal, which is what this is.
Right.
You can go up to
Oh,
a
okay.
9. You can go up to a 9 1/4 inch board, which gives you an 8-inch reveal.
Okay, so
or
you're
you
talking.
can, or you can go down to work your way down in 1-inch increments to go all the way down to a 3-inch reveal.
So are your 2 choices a 7-inch reveal and an 8-inch reveal? Is that what you're saying? you have
Our
available
choices
to
are
you?
frankly whatever you would like them to be. It's
Well, I
from
was
a
gonna
cost
say-
standpoint, it's sort of not that huge of a difference. Currently, we're priced at that
Okay.
option, which is the 7-inch. To
Okay.
go up to an 8-inch or down to a 6-inch is sort of.
What's on your house predominantly? And when I say predominant, I should say front elevation more than any. What do you have on there now?
All of the aluminum siding is 8-inch
Okay.
exposure.
Are you ever thinking you're ever going to change that?
Well, that depends how soon we win the lottery. Because sure,
Okay, that answers
I
that.
would love
Okay.
to rip off the aluminum and restore all the wood, but there's no need for that right now, and that's a $30,000 undertaking.
I'll say this, I don't want to stray from my original thought, and that is, I'm fine with whatever decision you make, because I believe you're going to do the best for your own property. So I'm fine if you go 7 or 8, I think it's going to be fine. Next then, and last, I guess, no, there's 2 more. Next is the fiber cement. You can't tell that's not wood from here, so I have no concerns whatsoever, and you're going to love that for about, 200 years that might last? So is it going to be painted, or is it finished?
It's painted. We're matching. The rest of the house is Benjamin Moore colors out of their historic portfolio,
Wonderful.
and so we're going to match that.
That's
in the
great.
work.
Okay. And then last is your barn shed. My belief is anything you want to do to it is fine by me, including redesigning it or raising it. So I'll give you anything you want on
Well, that was on the table until we had to do a house, so
Right there.
we're going to live with it for now.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, you're next.
Great. Yeah, Dean stole a little bit of my thunder, but
Sorry.
I'll try to highlight a couple things. One, regarding the fiber cement, we've approved that in the city before, so I don't have an issue with the material. I love Hardy or fiber cement in general. I think it's a great material. Tell me you're not doing textured fiber cement.
No.
Okay, good.
That stuff's hideous.
Okay, fantastic. One of the questions was considering whether you're going to tear off the aluminum and bring back the original, but you've already answered that. The biggest question I had is the low slope cricket membrane in the back, and what you're thinking of doing with that.
You mean from a color standpoint
Material,
or from
I
a
guess, right.
Material, is it, you doing a TPO or something like that, or?
It depends if I can talk my buddies into Carlisle at into sending me some discounted TPO. It's probably going to be an EPDM membrane.
Okay, so like a white EPDM, or?
If I can get gray so it doesn't stand out,
Yeah, that's
we'll
my
do that.
concern is
Yeah,
how it's gonna stand
it's- It'll probably be a black or a gray in the same family as a shingle. It's not going to be white.
Okay. Yeah, because that's, I mean, there's no other real way to do that roof and to drain it, but it's the one thing that kind of is difficult with a double gable.
I can offer a suggestion if I may.
Sure.
Metal can do it. Prefab, well, I'll say copper, but that's pricey. But nevertheless, you can have a pre-finished metal that would go along with the color that you're using.
That's an option, and I want to talk through possibly like a torch applied sheet that can still deal with the low slope and get a warranty, but it would be more the same texture as the asphalt shingles. It's not my go-to, but from a visual standpoint, it may work. I like the metal. We'll see what the price tag is on the metal.
Okay, can I offer to whomever is going to give the proposal to add that in as giving him the option, so you don't have to worry about having that permission.
Yeah, I like that idea, because I think whatever EPDM or TPO or membrane roof is going to read as something
Asphalt.
that stands out.
It's
Yeah.
either going to be white and not work, and black asphalt look, and
Yeah.
that's also not going to work. I couldn't agree with you more.
And I concur about the posts and the porch. I would love to see a couple extras, and it sounds like you're in agreement. So, other than that, I think it's fantastic, and look forward to seeing it.
Great, Mark. All right, Robert?
Like everybody said, that was the most well thought out and detailed report I think I've ever had since I've been on the commission, so well done on that. I'm in agreement with all the materials you're using, pretty much in kind, and making it's going to look pretty much the same as what you had. I feel very bad for what happened in your house, but I guess the only silver lining is now you have the opportunity to do this. Maybe not the timing you wanted, but you're able to do that. I don't really see it for us to stop someone from getting back in their house. So I think you did a great job here, and look forward to seeing when you complete.
Thank you.
Great, all right. Next then, we're in our Commissioners' Open Forum section, but I don't think there's anything further to add. All right, so then I'm open to a motion to approve or deny this application.
Go ahead. You can
No,
do
go
more of
ahead.
the you can do more of the technical voice.
You do it all year, Robert.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I move that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff report, findings, and recommendations, grant HIST-8011-2018 Reconstruction Addition and Shed Improvements, finding it to be in compliance with Section 24-227.2 of the City Code with 3 conditions. 1, applicants to work with staff on final details of the plans before submission of the residential improvement permit application. 2, applicants to reuse existing windows and decorative elements in the addition if the items are salvageable. And 3, we reserve the right to give the applicant permission to explore adding additional posts to the rear porch, as well as look at different materials for the low sloped cricket in the rear.
And have a hip in the back roof.
Oh, and also looking at the hip in the back patio as well.
Okay.
And just for clarity, I don't know if you want to say you reserve the right, but you simply grant that in, I assume you
Good
mean
point.
in coordination
Sure.
with
Good
staff.
point. Mhm.
Yeah, whatever.
Because if you
Frank
reserve
says.
the right, you don't want him having to come back here is your point.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks, Frank.
As amended, I second.
Okay, so you're seconding the amended?
Yes.
Okay.
With a grant rather than reserve.
Yes, all right. Okay, very good. So the motion is there, and
And seconded.
it's been seconded. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None. So that's 5-0. Congratulations.
Very much.
Thank you. Great
Anybody
job.
want a piece of wall?
It's already framed.
Say
Put
one
it up
more.
and do it. Wonderful. Okay, next then on the list, I believe, is from staff. Is that correct?
No, we have one more
have one more?
application.
Oh, that's right, okay. We have HIST 80-10-2018, the replacement of the roof diverters at 5 South Summit Avenue in the CBD. Okay,
The B&O Railroad Station and Community Museum date to circa 1884. The city-owned property is zoned CBD, Central Business District, and is individually designated. The applicant, K2M Design, has submitted an application to replace the roof gutter diverters on both the north and south elevations of the railroad station and the north elevation of the Community Museum. The existing roof diverters were built in 2009 when the existing slate roof was installed. According to the applicant, the roof diverters were installed incorrectly, which has led to rot of the wood sheathing at the eaves, which you see in this photo here. And these are the existing diverters. As you can see, they are made of metal with flashing to either side. The proposed diverters will closely match the design of the existing diverters. And here's how the new diverters will look. They will have a more minimalist, upright appearance. If I go back to the previous photo, you can see the existing are sort of L-shaped, and the new will be just upright. The existing metal diverters will be removed, including the flashing, water shield blocking, and felt surface. Slate tiles will be removed and reinstalled. Damaged slate will be replaced with leftover stock. The damaged wood sheathing will be replaced with boards that match the existing. The replacement metal diverters will include a new felt surface, sealant, copper flashing, wood blocking, and an ice and water shield. The new diverters will closely match the appearance of the diverters that were installed on the train station in this 1906 photo. And they meet the design guidelines for both the Historic District design guidelines for the Brooks, Russell, and Walker Historic District and individually designated historic sites, and the Gaithersburg Old Town Historic District design guidelines. Are there any questions?
I just only have a question. Did you say the existing photo had diverters?
Yes, they exist right now. They were.
I'm sorry about in the old photo. Were there any diverters in the old photo?
Yeah, right on the edge. You can't see them too well.
So it's right on the edge itself.
Yeah,
but they're without
closer
gutters.
to the
Is that
edge.
without a gutter system?
There were no gutter system. No.
Why did they not just add a gutter? Do you have any idea?
I couldn't tell you. It was in the original design specifications for the train station dating back to 1884. It was pretty vague, so I
Wow.
think it was up to whoever was the carpenter on site.
Okay. No, I'm saying for the 2009.
Oh, there were gutters previously. I know that. I
So
think
why did they have the
there was
diverter?
the
I was just
mentality
curious.
of going back to the original design based on that photo. I looked at the minutes for that meeting in 2009 and didn't see any discussion on why going back to the diverters, but my guess is that they wanted to retain the historic appearance as much, or go back to the historic appearance as much as possible.
Were they raised height-wise as high off the eave as they are in this photo?
In the 1906 photo,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
they're not, well, it's just hard to judge how tall exactly they are.
Okay. All right. I jumped ahead by asking you questions, and so forgive me for that. What I'll do then is, I guess, you are the applicant? You
I am
represent
not the applicant. I am representing the applicant.
That's what I mean. So the applicant therefore spoke. All right, so then next is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on behalf or against this application? And I see no one. All right, next then is hearing from the commissioners with their questions and thoughts. And I'd like to start with you, John, if I may.
I have no comment other than to say that I'm in favor.
Okay, very good. All right, Commissioner Kurtz.
I have no comment other than I'm in favor.
Okay. Mr. Mark.
I concur with the two commissioners to your right.
Okay. Albert.
Let's make it 3.
All right, that's for me as well. I have absolutely no concerns whatsoever. So based on that, we don't have to have an open forum, so let's go and have a motion.
I'll make the motion. I move that the Historic District Commission based on the exhibits submitted and the staff report findings and recommendation, grant historic area work permit, HIST 8010-2018, replacement roof diverters, finding it to be in compliance with Code Section 24-227.2 of the City Code with no conditions.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Good work, Chris.
Congratulations, representative of the owner.
Yes, former employee of the quarter.
That's right, that's right, that's right. Actually, it lasts the whole quarter, right?
There you go.
There you go, he's still the former, he's still the current one. All right, then next then is from staff.
I don't have anything. I don't know if you have anything.
No? All right, next then is from the commission. Yes, sir.
I'll send more information out to Chris closer to the event, but on a Saturday, October 21st, the Maryland Association of Historic District Commissioners, working with Preservation Maryland and the city, or the town of Washington Grove, will be having a walking tour and a house tour and a reception, and everybody is invited, and y'all are local, and if you have not had occasion to come into Washington Grove, it's pretty cool. It started as a Methodist church community in 1873. Yes, and it's a very cool little town with some very cool houses, many of them starting with these very steep peaked 14-foot wide, 29 or 18-foot long structures, which were the tents. And in many of them, including the house my wife and I are in, when you go to make repairs, you can find pieces of the canvas.
Very cool. Wonderful.
Yep.
All righty.
And there are going to be goodies. It's going to be a reception, and so
Well, all right.
free
then.
food. If you like it. So I don't know about you guys.
Okay, all right, anything from anyone else before we adjourn?
I'd like to make
Yes,
one
sir.
general comment about the water feature downtown.
Oh, yeah.
I've been by several times on foot and almost every day, and of course in the car. It seems to be well used, well appreciated. I sincerely hope that it's not a source of any problem to the city, because it does appear to make the town, at least the center of the town, very welcoming.
I agree. It is a great park,
Yeah.
and they had the opening, and the place was going nuts. It was wonderful. The kids were just almost doing somersaults. And so were the mayor and council.
That's true.
That's right, that's right.
And I've seen people come out of Victor Litz and put on impromptu performances, just
Really?
fooling around. So
That's wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yes, amen to that, John. As I drove in tonight, kids were just frolicking, having a wonderful time.
is it still open?
All righty.
No skinny dipping.
I probably
sir.
should have mentioned when you mentioned staff
That's
before,
okay.
just as a reminder, I think I may have mentioned at the last meeting, but we will be doing an open meetings
Mhm.
training, another, we had one last year, and actually, this will be, I believe it's Thursday, October 25th, at the Maryland Planning Commissioners Association meeting that will be here in the city. So if anybody's interested, they should be getting information out about that, but just make sure to sign up, and it'll be very similar to the presentation we have had. So if you had the first one, I don't know that there've been enough changes or anything like that that would make it worthwhile, unless you just want to have it again. Since it's here, it is more convenient.
Frank, my notes had it down as Friday rather than Thursday.
It originally was supposed to be on Friday, and they did end up changing the date to Thursday.
That's even
So,
better.
Yeah.
Boy, every sparrow that falls. Vice Chair Roddy, you are on your game.
I appreciate, thank you for taking notes and paying attention.
All right. Okay, that's it for everybody? All right, we're hereby adjourned. All right.